says preparing. All right.
All right.
Well, hello and welcome, folks, to another Thursday night of talking about velocity banking. Now, before we kind of dive in tonight, remember, as we talk about these financial strategies, subjects, and topics, that both Richie and myself, we are not financial advisors, attorneys, or CPAs. We always recommend that you engage those services of professionals when making decisions, especially financial ones that may have an impact to your situation. Now, of course, we can share our experience and help you along the pathway, and we will let you know when it is time to incorporate one of those professional services. My name is Ray Fleming, and along here with me is Richie GP. Say hello, Richie.
What's up, Ray? How you doing? Hi, everybody. Welcome.
And we are the Wise Guys in Ties. And so tonight, what we are going to be speaking about is we are going to be talking about how to implement some strategies with your velocity banking in conjunction with real estate investments. So we'll kind of open up that discussion here. So first off, how you doing, Richie?
I'm doing well, man. Very busy. I don't know if you noticed, but like this is my project checklist, and I'm still dealing with things. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was funding, right? And I get this question a lot due to the fact that when we hold like these kinds of meetings, whether it be live or online, and we invite guests out, it's always somebody who wants to who's looking for funding,
Absolutely.
And majority of the time I'm over there like, find your own funding. It's really interesting how people learn how to find funding through going to events and asking for funds as if they're walking off the street. Okay, let me ask you this question, Ray. If you were a bank and you had money, you had lots of money to invest in people, right?
Okay.
And these people would, the type of investing that you'd want to do is you have a standard, right? You have a standard you want them to meet. And what if they just came off the street and you never had a relationship with them? What would you say to them?
I mean, I think we could all agree is that when you don't know, it's too risky.
Yeah. And this is why banks and lenders, they count on credit scoring systems, these databases that collect the history of how a person treats the bank. What kind of relationship do they have with their lenders? And if their relationship shows a positive ranking, then chances are you don't have to worry about dealing with history with the person or having to develop a full-on relationship with them to get to know how they've already treated their original lenders. They or have a much better chance, lower risk, that this person will treat you correctly in that relationship. But if you have a low grade, if that person has a low grade on these databases that are out there, then you have an idea on how they treat other people or other banks, right? So I think that people get this idea that, if they're not going to the bank, they're not going to get checked on. Smart money people, they check, okay? Unfortunately, there are not a lot of smart money people, gathering together, trying to learn how to do real estate and everything like that. There's a lot of people out there who's like, oh, I got a lot of money, but I don't know what to do with it. I just got inherited some cash and I have no idea what to do with it. I don't want to just put it in the bank and earn my yield and blah, blah, blah. Or, I just opened up a large line of credit, such as a home equity line of credit or business line of credit at low interest. What can I do with it? And unfortunately, these people get hit up by these so-called investors who come to these meetings and pitch them, right? Without any history, without any anything, nothing to fall back on. It's just, I went to this weekend seminar and this is what they told me to do, kind of a thing. And that's unfortunate. So that's why I wanted to talk about wealth building today. And, just to catch you up, Ray, I just have been getting texts all day. I'm at that phase of closing on my own property, my personal property, selling it, and closing on an investment property that we're going into fix and flip. And I'm in that phase where you just got to kind of twiddle your thumbs and play Gran Turismo 7 on your PlayStation 5 until somebody does something. I mean, you've done all you can, or I've done all I can within this time period for it to move to where I need it to move. Now I just got to wait for others. And that's what's stressing me out right now. I think I texted you earlier. How long does it usually take for certain types of lenders to approve these types of lending agreements and such? And you said about a week or two, and it's almost been about maybe almost a 3-week thing right now on this particular lending agreement. And we're apparently the appraisers are very short-handed right now. That's the reasoning that I got. Appraiser being sent out to the property to do their value opinion and send it back to the bank and go through the process. But they've been having issues trying to find people to do that locally here in Hawaii. Whereas my house, selling, I'm dealing with my solar panel lease. I lease solar panels because in Hawaii, I'll just be honest, you'll be dumb not to get solar, photovoltaic.
You got a lot of sun, a lot of sunny days.
Got a lot of sun. And the energy costs here are, people think that I exaggerate when I tell them if I didn't have PV, I'd be paying like $700 a month in electricity.
Wild. That's
crazy.
Insane.
So, just throwing that out there that yes, you want to have PV here. Definitely. Okay. So anyway, we're waiting on that transfer to start going. But, and I just got a call from our title company saying that we're scheduling the closing or signing the documents for our closing next week already.
Congratulations.
And, yes. Thank you. Thank you. But does that mean anything yet? Until the money hits our account, to me, it means nothing. As positive as I want to be. But yeah, that's what's been going on with my life. It's just been up and down. How about you, Ray? How's everything going with you, sir?
Everything's going pretty well. We have this property that we're in the process of rehabbing right now that was going, it started off as a fix and flip potential, but it's one of those that is good enough situation, good enough deal that I'm going to actually finish the remodel and move into it. And so in turn put my house on the market, which was a flip from 2.5 years ago. So yeah, I mean, there's still things happening in the market. The market is crazy. There's a huge shortage of inventory. And then also, we're looking at potentially putting a large sum of money into our 15-unit apartment and then putting that on the market. So this is kind of a new idea I've been throwing around, going through, just updating and making more efficient the unit. So there's changing out the coolers in every unit, and then windows, doors, and insulation. Since with that comes along the higher rent rates, which we have already started. And we just purchased that property last year, but we're looking at potentially right around like a 50% gain, in 2 years. So by the time we would sell it. So we'd look at transitioning that 1031, exchanging that into something larger. So potentially a 30 unit. And then I think that's the approach that we're pretty set on, is the picking up when the management is not there. It is poorly managed. The rents are far below market value. or the market rent rate and just improving the property, basically doing fix and flips to apartments. That's really where we're at. We've been remodeling units, raising the rents, and it's not outrageous. So our units with utilities included, $750, not outrageous at all. So
Wow, that's so cheap.
when we got it though, $475 with utilities included. I mean, it's each unit costs $75 for just utilities alone. So it's it's just one of those things that people have been there for 20 plus years. It's time to transition, because you just can't take care of the property. This is something that, before I became a real estate investor, I always thought, oh, well, the landlord's just trying to take advantage. We don't really cash flow much off. Like, we aren't cash flowing anything off that. Every single penny that property produces is going back into all the deferred maintenance. And so if you want a place that is well upkept, if it is clean, doesn't have insects, bugs, even in that situation, the landlord, because they're charging maybe not enough, they may not even have enough money after insurance, because depending on the age of the property, the insurance could be more. There's always things that are breaking, especially on older properties. There's always electrical issues, cooler issues, heater issues, plumbing issues. And I mean, maintenance is out of control. And so really, on a lot of these older apartments, there's so much old maintenance that needs to be done that typically it's not really even cash flowing. So our goal is to get it to the point where it will cash flow nicely and then sell it.
Nice. That's brilliant. So yeah, it's a different strategy, different acquisition strategy, different financing strategy from single family homes to apartment buildings, right? So and you're looking at cap rate, you're looking at a way to increase the way the business is run, because that's what it's based on. It's not based on, comps around the area. It's based on what the net operating income turns out to be, and cash flow and all that other crazy awesome stuff. So yeah, that sounds like a great thing. So anyway, thank you, Ray. So today, the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because, yes, in the midst of everything that we're dealing with, I just wanted to announce this is the very cool thing about, what I've been, trying to conquer these last 6 years. I started this whole process learning about this velocity banking, credit banking strategy, what we used to call sweep strategies. It's still here. It's still a company here. And, we've just been having so much fun with it. I'll be honest with you, Ray. It's been scary at first, but then once you start getting used to the process, starting to get used to the things that affect your finances and understand how to control them better, then fear them. This is what most people tend to do. They fear their finances, they fear their credit score, they fear the bank, and so on and so forth. And then it turns into fear of lending, fear of credit, fear of borrowing money. And then all of a sudden you have this red mark on you because you have debt. And I'm here to tell you that, honestly, as long as you learn how to control it, then you get to play with it. It becomes a win-win solution scenario type of thing. You can get into it, you can get out of it. You know what to secure it against, you know what not to go past, you know your numbers. That's what it really comes down to, is if you know your numbers, then you know how to stay within the range that you need to operate and make your dreams come true. That's what it really comes down to. And I'm proud to say that after playing with this strategy for 6 years, and this is not a goal by any means. This is not a goal. This is just one of the effects of the process. And I know this may be a goal for majority of the people out there who tune in to these webinars. who search for velocity banking on YouTube or find out how to pay off debt on YouTube. Most people find this as being a goal. To me, this is just part of the process. And I promise you, I'm going to do something more. And I'm proud to say that we're about 2 weeks away from being 100% debt free. Okay. Now, again, this is a goal for a lot of people out there, but for me, it's just a process. This is just part of the process, because once we get out of it, and I guess the idea of our credit scoring and everything like that hits a point where I know I'm going to utilize it again to our advantage, we're going to get back into debt to grow our wealth even more than where it's at right now. Okay. So I just want to make that clear before we get into our, it's going to be, hopefully it might be a 2-part lesson here, guys. I don't know how long this is going to take, but once we get into using debt to build wealth as a strategy through real estate investing, then, because I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks on how to make this work. What I just want to let you guys know is, if you understand that it is part of the process, that debt is not an evil thing, that debt is a very big cog in the wheel of wealth. For many people, especially nowadays, then get comfortable with us. Keep coming back to us. Keep coming to this channel. Keep coming to our webinars. Even talk to Ray and myself about your own personal situation, because my own personal situation is about to just level up to level 4, level 5. We're at level 3 right now, kind of a thing. And I'm super excited. I really am. I'm really excited to share this with people and go through the process. I might even live stream me paying off all my credit cards.
You should.
Yeah,
that'd be fantastic.
Right?
Just going through
one of these. Okay, look at what I'm doing. Boom, 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 boom. Just knocking them all off. 30,000, 25,000, 10,000. It's just boom, 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 wiping them all out. And you got to understand the reason why is because I wasn't lucky that this is happening. This is a process. Okay. Part of a plan, part of a very grand and crazy plan that I decided to do, because I'm in that realm of playing with debt, understanding how my credit scoring works, understanding how to never go beyond a certain, debt amount, even though I know everybody can go past that ceiling, which they set for themselves. So understanding how that works, staying within your means, staying within your living expenses, and so on and so forth. And then you could carry it on and then, increase that amount, increase that ceiling, until you get to the goal that you want. And for me, it's basically a family bank. That's what I want to create, is a bank that my family could use instead of having to go outside to other institutions to do the things that they want to do, whether buy a house or start a business, go to college, so on and so forth. And they'll learn how to use it and control it and make great wealth from it as well. So anyway.
Well, so Jesus says, remember, being debt-free doesn't mean financially free. Exactly. That's what we're talking about here. That it's part of the process. It's definitely part of the process, because it depends on your strategy, your goal. And then from right here, it's, where do you go from here, Richie? That's the question.
Ooh, that's what okay. Excited. I'm so excited. So yes, we are going to be stepping into the realm of, we're going to move to the mainland first and foremost. That's something that I've been wanting to do. Again, part of that process. We've been basically storing enough money in our equity of this house for so long that we decided to, let's go ahead and cash it out, go ahead and wipe everything out, and then move away. Have a big fat stack of cash with us, have lines of credit ready to fire away and trigger on any real estate deals that we do or any other investments that we get into. Mind you that I'm sticking with real estate. I'm not doing anything else because funny things going on out there right now, guys. So, I'm not going to get political or anything like that, but it just comes down to, I feel that real estate is the safest bet. Now, talking about raising funds. Okay. there's so many guidelines out there, and you can't blame anybody really. It's just a thing that had to come up. There was a more than a decade ago where people were able to just freely borrow, and whoever was lending was basically saying, okay, I invest in you and I know that you're going to do really good for it. You're going to do great things with it. And then everything started crashing down. And that's how it goes. We have to fail to learn. Whatever that process was, whatever Dodd-Frank decided to put into place to make sure that we do not fail again in that sense, because I guarantee you there's going to be other ways of failing and other ways for us to learn. I wanted to share with you the ways that I've been raising funds for my real estate investing. And right now even though I'm in the process of moving my family away from Hawaii, and we plan on leaving by June, even though we're closing in the next couple of weeks, the buyer's actually letting us stay. So this is the cool thing about learning what we do, is we get to kind of like negotiate the things that we want. So we design our situations due to the fact of the things that we know and how to actually say them honestly. So for example, the way we were able to talk to this particular seller is it became a win-win due to the fact that, she has to stay in her rental until the end of May, and we want to stay here until our kids get out of school, because one's a sixth grader and one's a freshman in high school. And we want them to have the full year here. And then we'll leave. Right.
That's a smart choice.
So, yeah. And so, the buyer was more than willing to do that because, again, it's a win-win. And, there's other things that we made sure she is enjoying out of the sale of this house. So, like, for example, she's buying the house as is, but I did tell her that I was going to recoat the flat roof that we have, just for the things that's up there. There's a lot of moss and some plants actually growing around the roof. So I got to power wash and then re-roll the coating and everything like that. So I'm going to take care of that stuff. And she's letting us stay here rent free. I'm cool with that, So anyway, back to the subject. Now we have a fix and flip that I want to plan on doing. Well, I'm in the process of closing. We are dealing with an appraiser issue because there's a shortage apparently. I guess when the rates dropped a little bit again, then all of a sudden everybody wanted to rush to refi. Go figure. There's not much inventory here in Hawaii for people to buy, so it can't be that. It must be the refis. I don't know. So there's a shortage of appraisers over here. But anyway, I got our raised funds sitting in my business bank account right now doing absolutely nothing, and it's frustrating the heck out of me. I don't like it when money sits still. Do you, Ray?
Nope, absolutely not, because it's just losing money, and because it's been put there to make money. And so if we're not making money, I think about that all the time. I'm like, we got to put this money to work.
Yes, got to put it to work. And that's the way I look at my lines of credit as well. Is if my line of credit is at zero balance, it's not doing anything. So if I were to send it out to somewhere, and yes, I understand how interest works. I'm going to show you a little bit about what effective interest rate can actually do for a lender. Okay. So always make it a win-win solution. That's one of the things. I got the cash in there, but but it's costing money per day. And I'm waiting for this to close. Once we are able to move the funds, get the closing done, then I could start work as soon as possible. I got my contractors all lined up, got everything lined up, just waiting for the close. Now, once upon a time, I was dumb about money. I had no clue what I was, how to ask somebody to borrow money from them to make it work for us. As a real estate investor, you start to learn how to use other people's money or other people's energy or other people's time. This is an entrepreneur's dream come true, to master all the OPs and whatever it comes along afterwards, OPM, OPE, OPT. One of the other things that a lot of people don't understand how to do is OPC, or other people's credit. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Every single bit of that money that's inside that account is OPC. Okay. And the way we have it set up is, well, number one, I built the relationship with these people, and building the relationship, much like bringing your credit score up with a bank, with a lender. If you use a credit card and you pay it on time and you keep it below a certain utilization, you get a great grade. You get a great credit score. Okay. If you use high utilization, your credit score drops. If you miss a payment, your credit score drops. If you default, your credit score drops. That's all the things that you want to stay away from. But if you keep making payments on time, you keep the utilization low, you're not going dangerously high in personal credit anyway, then you're gonna look favorable in that relationship. So that's what it all comes down to. And I always relate the relationship with the bank like my relationship with a girlfriend, okay, or spouse or husband or wife or whatever, okay. And I said this before in my last mastermind. It was really funny. This guy asked, hey, how does the HELOC affect your personal credit? And my answer was, well, great question. I don't care. And the reason why is because I understand how to play along with it, how to make it work for me and the bank. The bank has invested in me with the home equity line of credit to, take and use, create, do things with it, and then pay them an interest, right? But then if I turn that into more money than what the interest cost is, then what do I have? A profit. So why not go for that all the time instead of going with what the bank advertises? Now, in this case, though, what we also got to understand is that, sometimes this could be dangerous in the wrong mindsets or in the wrong hands. That's why it's very important to really educate yourself on focusing on the numbers first. Don't go based on emotion or wants. Go by your numbers. And, when I was talking about, like, if you're going to be an investor and you're going to be playing with OPC or even your own credit, you got to understand that with the credit scoring process, okay, if you miss a payment, that's much like cheating on your girlfriend, okay? It's going to be very, very difficult for them to forgive you for that. Or if you default, right? Same thing. It's like cheating with your girlfriend. Do not do that, okay? Don't miss any payments. Don't default. Don't cheat on your girl, okay? It's going to be really, really hard to make up for it. Eventually you can, but it may take 7 years to do so. Lots of boxes of chocolates and love letters to the bank, letting them know, hey, I'm better now. Look at me. I'm actually, if you see the banks that I've been with before you again, they'll tell you that I've been a great person ever since. Right. If you have high utilization, this is where it gets a little funny with me, because I'm in business now. And what we learn about business is that, yes, high utilization shouldn't be an issue for us as long as we have the income coming in. Okay. Keep that in mind. If you don't have the income coming in, you should not utilize more than what you really need. But if you have that income coming in like we do, high utilization should be no issue. Okay. But in personal credit, it is a big issue. And to me, that's like as if you're looking at another girl, even though you're with this one girl. And that, just because you're looking, right, is not as bad as cheating, right? But it's still bad. And it's still going to take some flowers and some love letters and some focus, right? And not doing that ever again, and so on and so forth. That's what utilization looks like to me every single time. I think about that as a relation to the relationship type of thing. But as a business owner, what you got to understand is that sometimes you have to check out other girls. It's weird to say, but sometimes you have to, because to create more, you're going to have to use that utilization sometimes. And if as long as you have the return coming, right, you don't plan on missing payments and defaulting. You're just looking. You're not crossing that line, right? But then once you get it all back and focus on the bank and pay them all back and everything is happy, then the relationship goes back to normal. So that's how I also treat my lenders. Okay. I treat them with, well, utmost respect, but most of all, I treat them with education. And that education is about velocity banking. Now, most of my lenders came into my group having no idea what velocity banking was, or credit banking, whatever you want to call it. And so I show them their numbers. I run their numbers. I tell them exactly how to make it work for them. I tell them how to pay off their debts, meet their goals, make their dreams come true. And then once they get to the point where, of course, I'm running their numbers, I'm also gauging on whether this person would actually be a great team member of mine to be in my group, my partnerships, if you will. Okay. And, that's how I'm able to raise funds. So this is a question that I usually pose new investors, new people who want to get into real estate business, or even just velocity banking for that matter, and they want to actually earn more cash flow. My first question is, how easy is it for you to raise $50,000? Right? And if it's easy, okay, how easy is it for you to raise $100,000? Okay, if that's easy, then how easy is it for you to raise $200,000, and so on and so forth, right? So it gives you an idea to kind of gauge yourself on where you are at and how much education you should really focus on before stepping into that next realm. Okay. Now, for me, before, again, I was no one who would lend money to. I was not the person to lend money to because I had no idea what I was doing. But then I started learning how to do these real estate deals. I actually started using my own credit at first to get the experience. Once I did my own credit, I decided, you know what? Ever since 2017, this is where it started, Ray. Ever since 2017, I've never used my credit for real estate investing ever again. It's been 100% OPC, or other people's credit. Okay. In some aspects, of course, I'm borrowing from other people's retirement accounts and so on and so forth. We learn how to do that. And of course, you want to learn how to be able to gather as much cash as possible, or much capital as possible, to go ahead and deploy and make everybody money, right? Especially you, because you're doing all the work. You bring that value, and that value that you bring, the money is the result and the receipt of your value that you bring, right? So when we have that cash ready to trigger when we want, then that's where the magic is. Things can happen super fast, right? But if you're over there finding deals or creating solutions for people and you have no cash on hand to trigger it, then what's the point, right? So that's why I wanted to share this particular strategy with you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Is that okay, Ray?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let's take a look at this.
So first and foremost, we're talking about velocity banking, and generally this is how it's pitched. You're going to pay off your debts. That's what velocity banking is shown to people, to pitch them, and oh yeah, debt elimination and pay down is the number one tool for this particular strategy. But I'll be honest with you, it's not really a tool for that. It's an enhancer for that. The tools are the lines of credit. The tool is the cash flow. Okay. The tool is the debt that you have. The actual knowledge of velocity or credit banking is an enhancer to the process. So in other words, if you just call this a debt pay down tool, then you're not going to be able to move it over here because you're just focused on paying off debt. I want you to start realizing that this strategy is meant as an enhancer for anything that goes on with finance, whether it be, debt pay down, floating your expenses, your income and expenses, especially when you run a business. You know what I'm talking about when it comes to those lean months sometimes. And it's like, oh, you're struggling to make ends meet those lean months, but then next month, all of a sudden you take off, then it goes back down, it goes back up. Velocity banking enhances that process and making it so much more smooth. And we'll talk about that later. It's a great thing to save a lot of business owners out there from failing too soon, especially when they have a great idea, right? But when it comes to wealth building, we want to enhance that wealth building strategy. But when it comes to wealth building, what we're talking about is, number one, fundraising or capital raising. Let's call it capital. Also being able to trigger, any type of investment that you want to get into, that you learned about, that you're knowledgeable about. Now, keep this in mind. I am not telling you to go out there and gamble with the velocity banking strategy. I'm not telling you to go out there and put it into things that you have no idea about. Okay. That is super, super important. Okay. So in our case, it's real estate. Now, why real estate? Well, because when you raise capital through real estate, you can actually secure it. Now, you could also secure, other investments, but you have to secure it with some kind of other thing like cash, right? Let me ask you this, Ray. Have you ever secured any of your capital that you raised with anything but real estate?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. No.
Yeah, no, right? But you can. Let's say I have $100,000 sitting in the bank, just growing with the APR. I mean APY, whatever. I don't know. I don't know why anybody would do that. And you went and borrowed $100,000, and it was going to be for something else. I don't know, like a stock or a business or something like that. Well, you can secure it against that savings account, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, or stock options, or even crypto. I'm just throwing that out there that you can actually do that. Okay. But I'm not saying going and doing that. Again, you have to know what it's going to do, how it's going to work. You can't just predict the future, but at least with real estate, you have control over how much you negotiate for the buying price of the property. And what we did with this particular property, the one that we have, the 6 figures of capital in my account for, this is for the down payment and the rehab, by the way, and the holding costs, everything all in one. What we had to do was make sure that it was secured against the property. I'm using Velocity Banking to raise the funds and everything like that. What we're going to be doing is, or what we already did was negotiate the price so low that my investors, or I'm not going to say investors, my lenders, by the way, you got to be careful how you say that to people. My lenders, my private lenders, there's only 2 of them, by the way. So let me just clear the SEC out. My private lenders know that the after repair value is way higher than the purchase price. In fact, the as is price is way higher than the purchase price right now. So that creates security, that creates trust, that creates so many different things, while you do this. So you want to make sure that security is available for these types of things. Okay. Be making it secure. That's why I love real estate, is that we could secure it against the property. Now I'm just going to give you the example of what we're dealing with right now. Okay. So let me just go ahead and draw a house, so here's a house. Okay. And we negotiated the price to be purchased at $555,000. Okay. $555,000. Now keep this in mind. Yes, this house needs some work. It's not crazy. Like it doesn't need a full-on rehab. It just needs to be cleaned up, painted. Everything works fine. Electricity is still new. Plumbing may need some leaking issues and those types of little things. But otherwise, it's just basically ready to go. But as is right now, so this is the purchase price. I'm going to list that as PP. As is, let me actually move this over here. As is already $750. Right now. even before we got the house. It's already at 750,000 as is. And after repair value, or ARV, we're looking at least $850,000. And I don't plan on putting in more than $60,000 into this property as far as rehab goes, but I have way more, at least another $100,000 ready to trigger if I need to, if I run into any issues, if I run into any delays, and so on and so forth. That's why it's so important to secure all of that ready to go, ready to fire off on any plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, all the way to Z, just in case, right? Even though we know that this may only take about 3 months to get done. Okay. So this is basically what I'm trying to do. 3 months to get it to, I guess, from as is to after repair, and then on the market, sell it. I mean, my house, we didn't even list it, and we got way over asking. just throwing that out there, and how fast these houses go here in Hawaii. Again, the inventory is so low, and people are still wanting to, buy bigger homes and whatnot. So this house is about 1,600 square feet, and a very big lot. So pretty happy about that. Any questions so far, Ray?
No, I feel like you're doing an amazing job explaining this. This is
Excellent.
super exciting. So thank you.
No problem. So here we are in this particular situation. What I wanted to do was have at least, so for expenses, we needed a down payment on a hard money loan. Now, for those who know me, I don't like using hard money. Okay. I never, ever use hard money unless I absolutely positively have no other choice. When it comes to investing in real estate, generally, I usually am able to negotiate a seller finance, or subject to very, any kind of like roundabout strategy to not have to come up with the full cash down to do my deals. But in this case, because the existing loan on the property is a reverse mortgage,
Ooh.
I can't do anything else. It has to go. And the reverse mortgage is actually in default already. So we got to act, pretty quickly, and so on and so forth, to make this go. Now, so I'm using a hard money lender. And to me, with the spread that we have already, we are fine. Okay. For the amount of time that we're going to be in this, we're fine. Again, I wouldn't use hard money unless, again, it's my absolute last resort, but also as long as the numbers work. Run your numbers. When it comes to personal finance, run your numbers. When it comes to debt elimination, run your numbers. When it comes to wealth building and investing, run your numbers. And if you don't know how to run your numbers, we have classes on that stuff. Anyway, so the expenses, down payment on the hard money loan, that'd be number one. Number two, I'm just going to list it like this. Number two is interest monthly. Number three is insurance. Number four is rehab or fix. I'm not going to call it rehab because we're not going to go crazy on this. Any other things that I'm missing here? Utilities. I sometimes forget things, but
Yeah, no, I'm not seeing anything else.
Yeah, this is generally the amount of the things that we have to do here to make this work, right? All right, so so now that we have all this all set aside already, which we do, we have everything all set aside over here, which is what this is pointing to. Then all we got to do is really, trigger. We just need to start spending and making it work. Now, how did we get this amount? And I might as well disclose this right at this moment. This is actually $250,000. Okay. How did I raise $250,000? Now this is like the lowest I've actually raised for a large deal. Okay. I do small deals and I raise small things for those small deals. But when it comes to bigger deals like this, I generally have the opportunity or have the ability to raise a lot more if I wanted to. But for this case, I have a really good, really amazing lender who just wants his money to work for him, and it's going to be amazing. He's going to get it back really quickly, and he's going to get a great return. I also treat him with prepayment penalties. In other words, if I borrow it for a year, I have it contracted for a year on my note, and I get it done before a year. In this particular case, I can't afford to pay them a whole year's worth of interest. And you know what? They keep coming back for that. Just throwing that out there, that if you want to treat your lenders this way, you can. You just got to throw it into the contract in a very creative way, make that happen. Of course, they got to pay taxes on it and everything like that if it's if it's coming out of their pocket and everything like that. But I also have another lender who, just wanted to play. He's like, I'm excited to learn and grow and, everything like that. So this is what he's doing as well. So we got that all set aside, ready to fire away. How did we get there though? Well, it's basically like this. Remember when I told you that I teach these people, their velocity banking strategy individually? Okay. Every person is different. Every person has their own, velocity banking strategy that's going to work for them. And if they don't know it, they're going to try and figure it out themselves. Either A, try and figure it out themselves and spend a lot of time, energy, and even money, especially that, trying to figure it out, or B, get a consult done. Sit down with me and go through the process, and we'll get it done within 2 hours, right? So money saved right there. So in this case, let's just say, just a roundabout. I'm not going to go exact numbers here because each lender is different. But let's say it's a $250,000 amount that we're borrowing. Okay. Now keep this in mind that I've already showed them their specific type of strategy. And in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to, just going to show you some movement of money strategy that one of the lenders has. Okay. That movement of money strategy is this particular lender has an all-in-one loan, or basically a first position HELOC on one of his properties. Okay. And he just basically opened it up. It's ready to go, fire away cash, right? He also has his checking account. And he's got his cash flow going into that checking account every single month. So cash or money goes in, income goes in, and he has his expenses. They're not that much, especially right now where he's at. So his expenses are quite low, which means that his large amount of cash flow rolls into the all-in-one loan on whatever he is putting out. So if he drew out his amount from his all-in-one loan to this property, or let me just go ahead and move this over to here. He put it into this property, okay? He's gonna want to move whatever cash flow he has into this first position home equity line of credit to keep the effective interest going nicely. And when I say that is this. I'm just going to play with the with an amount, 150. Okay. And he's getting charged on that first position HELOC around 3%. And his cash flow is around $5,000 a month. Okay. Now, what is his effective interest payment? Now, it'd be 3% if we just stuck to the original balance. His monthly payment on interest would be $375. Okay. If he just stuck to that, he didn't move it. He didn't use his velocity banking strategy. He just lended it out and did nothing about sweeping that money into that line. Well, it would be 375 per month. And if he borrowed at, I don't know, if he let us lend it for 3 months, this would cost him 1125. Okay. I am paying him 8%. Okay. Now, let me open up another calculator here. I'm paying him 8%. So right there, in 3 months, he would be earning $3,000. So not a bad yield. Am I correct? In this case,
No, that's
anyway.
that's a good one for sure.
If
I mean,
again,
I wouldn't say no to that for sure.
exactly, it's better than a savings account where it's at, sitting in the line of credit doing nothing, right? So the thing is, though, if he just let it sit, if he didn't sweep his money into it, okay, his effective interest is actually going to be, let me see what we have here. It's going to save him like 100 or something like that. Yeah, about $100, maybe less than that, if he just went ahead and swept his money. But he's still going to get his money back, which is really cool because the extra $5,000 that he puts into the line of credit. Okay, let me see here. So his cash flow going into the line of credit is $5,000. So by 3 months, he's going to have his balance lowered by 15,000 after 3 months. Okay. Then when we sell the property and he gets his money back, then he's going to have a surplus of $15,000 plus the interest that we paid him, which is $3,000. Okay. So that is just basically how an investor, or I'm sorry, how a lender would be able to lend out money from their first position home equity line of credit and earn interest, but also sweeping their money back into the line of credit. And eventually it's going to come back to them. They're going to have it available, and plus the 15,000 plus the interest and so on and so forth to trigger the next thing. And that's what he wanted. That's what he wanted to do. So for me, that is a big win because we get to utilize his money to do some really amazing things. For him, it's a big win because he has a place to put his money to start earning him income versus it just sitting there doing nothing. And also it gives him, an ability to move that cash flow somewhere to make it work for him instead of just sitting somewhere and doing nothing. There's all these really cool things that are happening through just using this one example for the wealth building strategy. Okay. Now, you could do this with up to 5 people, according to the SEC, just so you know, just throwing that out there. If you go beyond that, then of course it's going to turn into a red flag, and you do not want to be, you don't want to be investigated by the SEC when it comes to fundraising. Even if it is your private lenders or your next door neighbor or whatever, and you have that, that close relationship with them, if you are putting something out there that makes them wonder, then it's going to cost you money to deal with it. So do not jump into that realm of that. And if you don't know what you're doing, please get educated or join our group, and it'll give you an idea of how to not put yourself into that realm. But over here, using just 2 lenders of my very close friends, who I also taught how to use a velocity banking strategy to pay off their debts and grow their wealth. Because, by the way, this all-in-one loan is not just lending money out to us. It's doing some amazing things with the life insurance policy. It's also paying off the debt of another mortgage all at the same time. So there's more to it than just that. It's not just this. He's making money in other places because of the things that we learned or what we taught him. It's an amazing situation. So I just wanted to give you an example of that. He's going to be earning a good amount over time. I'm being honest. He just did 150. The other one did 100. Okay, and the other one is another friend of mine who wants to learn and grow with this. So he has his money into it, and he's going to get a really good return on this as well. So. And the way I split it up basically is this all-in-one loan is going to take care of the front-end expenses, and then the other amount is going to be taking care of the rehab expenses and finishing touches. And then once everything is paid back and money is in the bank, wealth building, baby. with velocity banking, it's a win-win for everyone. I mean, doesn't the bank win in this?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Does my buddy win? Absolutely. Yeah. Does this other guy win? Absolutely. Does the seller win? Absolutely. Gets them out of their really bad situation. Do we win? Absolutely. Because again, the value or the money that we receive is the receipt of the value we bring to the problem we solve. Think about that and write that down. It is a very, very important mindset to be in when it comes to earning income. Your ability to solve a problem is going to reward you with the receipt, and that receipt is the money and the value of of the amount that you bring to the table. Okay, so that's just part of it all. Okay, this is just one tiny example. I know we started really late tonight, and we apologize. We're doing some technical difficulty issues, but I wanted to, be able to disclose with you all the really cool things that are happening with us and what's moving in our lives. If you've been a part of our group for the last 2 years, just digging into what we've been doing, congratulations. If this is your first time checking us out, then by all means, you have the ability to look at everything else that we've talked about from here. In fact, I would go as far as to say is every single time we did a video, it just basically showed a portion of my journey to get to where I'm at right now when it comes to 100% debt pay down. Again, not a goal, just a process. But again, if it is your goal, then you should be a part of this. You should be seeing what I've been doing and what Ray's been doing all this time that we've been talking. If you go out and find and run your numbers and you find out that your debt is not going to get paid off for years and years and years, but you come to here and I'm in about, I'm in well over in consumer debt and a whole bunch of things. I got investments and stuff like that, but I am playing with it, but it's all going to get wiped out. And it's all because of velocity banking. It's all because of what we learn in real estate investing. It's all because I decided to get out of the working world and get into business for myself, business for my family. My family's part of my business. So therefore I'm earning cash flow from not having to pay taxes as much. Plan on buying a house. This is what Ray did, right? He went into a real estate deal. And the seller's probably asking him, what do you want to do with the property? And then he's like, I have no clue until I do something with it. Sometimes that's what it is. Like you go into a deal and you have no clue what you're going to do with it. But then all of a sudden it's like, okay, primary thought, I'm going to fix and flip this. And all of a sudden the process is going, wait a minute, I could live here. This house is nice. Let's move in. I plan on doing that over there in Oregon. Because I don't want to traditionally go through buying a house. I think that going through very creative strategies of acquiring properties and getting it at a discount, doing some really amazing things with it, getting the financing correct on it, and then just going ahead and making it our dream house afterwards. That's my goal over there anyway. But that's one of the reasons why we're moving there, man.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. And then just as you were mentioning, every time I get into a deal, I'm always thinking at least 3 different ways I'm getting out of this. So
yes,
that's always key too. And one of them may be that you just end up buying it.
Yeah. I mean, you just end up moving in. I don't know. Maybe you might just move into this house in Hawaii. No, I want to go. I miss the seasons, guys. And I've been here pretty much all my life in Hawaii. And yeah, chances are, you know what? Your dream is to live in Hawaii. Good luck. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that, it's an island. Everything has to get shipped here, including the fuel. It's just a different animal than living on the mainland. And I really miss the cold too. That's a weird thing to say. I know a lot of people right now are suffering through some snow and below freezing temperatures and whatnot, and you're over there saying, yeah, screw you, you're in Hawaii. Well, you know what, I want to be where you're at.
I mean, it's one of those things, if you think about it, like your favorite food. For example, I love orange chicken from Panda Express. Delicious. But if you have it over and over and over again, you're like, man, I hate this. I want something different. I would like
Yes.
me some, I don't know, Kung Pao chicken.
I like the Beijing beef. That's one of my favorite things on their
Oh,
menu.
it's the Beijing beef is delicious.
Well, I mean, I do miss a lot of the mainland things. We don't have a Jimmy John's here. We don't have an Olive Garden just opened up. We don't have a Krispy Kreme on this island. We got to go to Maui for our Krispy Kreme, which I don't want to go to Maui for Krispy Kreme. There's no Dick's Sporting Goods here. I love Dick's Sporting Goods. There's a lot of things. Trader Joe's, love Trader Joe's. Oh, and the groceries are so much cheaper over there. The electricity I hear is so much cheaper than it is over here.
It is. Mine doubled, and mine's still like 90% cheaper than yours.
Exactly. You know, that I'm excited to get an electric bill over there at our new place. Very excited for that.
You're like, are they charging us daily over? It seems like too low. Yeah.
It's amazing.
But yeah, man, Richie. And this was it's been a long time since we actually been live onto YouTube. We've been going live into the private Facebook group, and we all encourage everybody to join that. Level Up in Real Life. On Facebook, and you can go ahead. We threw in the chat the link to get registered for these live Zooms. We do these every other Thursday. We're going to be continuing to do these. You can tune in. That way, you at least you know and can plug into the actual Zoom webinar, just in case we don't happen to be on YouTube that day. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and just show everybody how you can continue to get connected with the Wise Guys and Ties. Go ahead and like and subscribe. But I'm going to go ahead and share a screen, because if you've been looking into velocity banking, you just want to continue to learn. If you go over to wiseguysandties.com, you'll see a little tab here. It says personal credit and velocity banking. If you go ahead and click on this tab, it's going to take you over to this page where you can see different ways to get engaged, to actually learn a lot more, from a book about everything in and out written by Joseph Smith himself on personal finance. If you want to take it to the next level, dive in deep with the Velocity Banking online course that is actually continuing to get segments weekly, really, at this point. Continuing to build on that, you're going to have access to that and all the updates. And then when you are ready and really want to take your velocity banking skills to the next level and actually have a plan developed, then you can do the one-on-one with Richie and actually have him sit down with you via Zoom, work with you, figuring out every aspect of your financial life, putting a plan together. And this is something that's, you're going to get the recording of the training. You can always reference that, and you can also receive ongoing help and assistance moving forward to make sure what you're doing in implementing these strategies is working, because that's the number one thing. You don't want to be going out and doing this blind. Other than that, like we said, we will be seeing everybody here. The next live stream of this mastermind is going to be on the 24th, but we are also looking at some other great things that are going to be coming out, but we look forward to helping each and every one of you.
Roger that. Thank you so much, Ray. Yeah, if you do join that Facebook group, just go ahead and request to join, answer the questions. That's basically all I ask, is you just answer the questions. They're very simple questions. It's yes or no. And if you answer those questions, you get access. And what you're going to also get access to is all the live webinars that we did this last year, live on Facebook. That's all recorded there. So you can just scroll down and pick and choose which one you want to do. It might get a little overwhelming because there's a lot of information in there. I myself do 2 live webinars every week based on velocity banking, and it's always something new. It's never the same thing. I also do another mastermind on calculations, or how to use a calculator that we built for velocity banking to make it work for you. Learn how to use a calculator as a tutorial as we go. So we have calculator labs. In fact, I'm going to actually do one here live on my other mastermind. Those will be posted on that Facebook Live, but I'll also be recording it for YouTube as well. And I'll share those with Ray so he could pop it on the channel as well. So I just got to go through the cutting and pasting of all the things and getting rid of all the nonsense and just focusing on the important things. So it's gonna be really fun this year. We still got a good amount of year left to make 2022 work. So far, it's just been so busy. And I don't know what it is. Maybe, Ray, it's because 2020 was just a standstill, and then 2021 was like, okay, we're gonna start up again, and maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't, and then now it's like 2022 is okay, we're ready to go. Let's go.
I haven't felt like I stopped moving. I feel like this is what 2020 should have been.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
To your break,
definitely
back at it. Let's hit it.
Yeah.
So, well, I want to appreciate everybody for being here tonight. Thank you, Richie, so much for all the hard work and effort that you put into helping each and every one of our viewers reach out and realize that achieving financial freedom, achieving debt pay down, debt freedom is actually achievable, and it can be done a lot quicker than they may think. So we look forward to helping each and every one of you out, and we will see you next time. Good night and God bless.
Hi, guys.